Hi there, and welcome to a special feature on launch time discussion on Vanguard Live, broadcasting to you from Lagos, Southwest, Nigeria. Okay, today we are bringing to you a special feature. Okay, we would be looking at human rights abuses during the COVID-19 lockdown in Nigeria. Of course, a lot of right abuses have been, reported in the media. Of course, a lot of people are worried. In fact, some said that the COVID-19 pandemic has killed less Nigerians, than some of these security agencies that have abused, the rights of Nigerians. Okay, my name is Bankole Emmanuel. Well, I'm not going to be doing this alone. I have a guest in the studio. Her name is Zikora Ibe. Zikora Ibe is the program officer of Spaces for Change, a non-profit organization. Zikora, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, we're still in the lockdown and it has not ended, and a lot of cases of human rights abuses have been discussed, over time. Let's first start with, the COVID-19. A lot of people in the first place feel there is no need for lockdown. So many Nigerians are talking about the figures that are being reported, that these figures are not real and all of that. What do you have to say about that, the COVID-19 experience altogether?
Well, at the start of the pandemic, when it first hit us, because it was far away from us and we were seeing the picture, far away from Nigeria, it seemed like it wasn't real. We were just seeing pictures of other countries and, people suffering from it and people going down from it. But to us, because it wasn't here, it looked to people like the disease was not real. But nobody who has followed the world politics and the picture of what has happened in the last few months will doubt that COVID-19 is unreal. Following the upheaval it has caused world economies all over, everywhere, even in Nigeria. When the first case was recorded, we were still like, okay, well, it wasn't anything. And then people, even the poor people, thought that this was a disease for the big men, people who would normally fly out and come back. It's not a disease for us. But gradually it started creeping in, and people started seeing that even their next door neighbor could fall for it. And even when a very, very high-ranking political officer in the name of Abba Kyari finally succumbed to the disease of COVID-19, at that point it became really clear that this disease did not come to play. It's here with us. So COVID-19 is real.
Okay, yeah, well, find that a lot of Nigerians, like you said, after the death of a high-profile politician in Nigeria, they came to a full awareness that the disease is actually existing, in Nigeria. Okay, away from, whether COVID-19 is real or not, okay, you talked about, your organization is more of infusing, human rights into social and economic governance in Nigeria. Okay, the COVID-19 experience has, adversely affected the world economy. Nigeria of course, is not exempted. How has it affected your organization? Because I understand that you have to do one or two things to ensure that the Nigerian economy is also thriving, and as well as your own organization too. So how has that affected you?
Well, if you ask me how COVID-19 has affected my organizations, like we earlier noted, worldwide, the pandemic has affected businesses and economies. So for my own organization, the COVID-19 has, not really, because we still do the work we do. We still try to, address issues of violations across the country. We still try to work with stakeholders to, seek redress for violations and, human rights abuses in the country. But in terms of work structure. Because of the reality of the virus, we've had to adjust our working structure and, to.
The working structure, what has that got to do with the economic impact?
Are you talking about the economic impact
Yes,
of the virus?
yes, exactly, yes, on what you do.
On what I do.
Yeah, and do not forget that your organization, work, towards trying to infuse human rights into the social and economic governance in Nigeria. The economic aspect now is what I'm asking. Like, I need to know how that has, impacted, the way you guys operate.
Well, if you say that the way we operate, like I told you, so we've largely started running digitally because of the impact of the virus, not really office, come to the office thing. And then because we also work with informal communities, and you know that the informal community members are daily earners. So it meant that the pandemic and the response measures that were rolled out to address the pandemic has affected like community members whose source of livelihood is a daily thing. So these guys have to sit at home without going out, without palliatives and the rest of them. So for many of these guys who largely live in informal communities, the pandemic thing is infringing on their rights, to existence. Most of these guys don't have social infrastructure. When we talk about good water, when we talk about good roads, when we talk about shelter, so these guys are barely managing to survive under the new reality of the COVID-19 situation.
Okay, now let's quickly go into human rights abuses during the the COVID-19 lockdown. Of course, we are still, and there's still some level of restriction around. Just yesterday, the Kaduna State Governor, extended the lockdown for another 2 weeks. Okay, but here in Lagos, what we have is 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew. Okay, that during that period, there were reports of police brutality, people dying, people getting killed, as a result of, let's say, police brutality. But I know that is not, really limited to this part of the world alone. But let us streamline it now to Nigeria. Can you tell us if you have any experience or encounter, with some persons reporting such abuses to your organization?
Well, just to note that even before the COVID-19 pandemic, Nigeria has always suffered issues of human rights abuses. So the pandemic just exposed, whatever it is that has been the situation on ground. Beginning from 2015 till date, my organization, Spaces for Change, has been tracking issues of human rights abuses in Nigeria, and we've been tracking and documenting on a database, closingspaces.org. Now, on that database, there are over 290 incidences of human rights abuses in Nigeria. You have like the police brutality, you have like citizens arrested, you have like citizens getting extorted for no reason. So this pandemic only just widening the wound that has been there. Where before the pandemic, people were being arrested based on national security, having been surveyed on, being, scrutinized on Facebook.
If people were being arrested based on, national security or maybe threat to national security, don't you think that is really understandable? Because even the Constitution provided that, you cannot risk national security for some person's rights, you understand?
Yeah, when I say people were being arrested on the basis of national security, I'm not saying that that's actually their offense. I'm saying that this, the context was over, expanded to actually attack.
Can you cite any example of those?
For instance, we had people on Facebook make posts and then get arrested.
Well, what kind of post are you talking about? Was it inciting?
Not really inciting. A post that allows for free speech, or allows for people to air their opinions on what they think about governance. And then for instance, when there was this guy arrested in Calabar who was imprisoned by the Cross River State government.
Do you have facts to that? How are you sure it was the River State government that arrested him?
Yeah, first because he was charged for for violating national security, and the state government alleged that he wrote an article that put them in bad light. And the article itself was an investigative article that exposed like some of the workings of the state government and some of the corruption and abuses happening in terms of projects that they ought to execute. So this guy was accused based on the fact that he wrote something very inciting, and in fact the government called it a mischievous article that set out to hurt them.
Okay, but in all of this, you've tried to establish the fact that
I was coming to somewhere. So I just noted that even before the lockdown, these things has been happening.
Mm-hmm.
So the lockdown only gave like new legitimacy to the kind of things happening. So the lockdown following the coronavirus thing, it was imperative for lockdown measures to happen to be able to flatten the curve and to be able to save people from the harm of the virus. So but then the enforcers in charge of the virus have been going about it wrongly, arbitrarily arresting people. We've heard of cases of people who are just out on the road to get something, not a few kilometers away from their house, and they get arrested and get told that why are you outside? You're not supposed to be outside. I mean, there's a lockdown period. In Ajigula, people sit outside their houses, and then you have like the police arrest them.
But those you are claiming, sit outside, or and were arrested by the police and all of that. Don't you think maybe they were like kind of flouting social distancing, all that, and then the police felt, okay, these people can pose dangers, they can spread the virus, and so they should be arrested?
No, they were not in any way violating social distance.
No, I'm just asking that. Don't you think?
Well, if there are cases where people violate, or that there is a structure to actually address those people. I mean, you don't arrest people like what we've been seeing lately. You arrest people, scores of people, like in double digits. You arrest them and take them to the station, an already crowded station. Remember that even before now, there were warnings that the prisons should be discongested to avoid, the spread of the virus. So then you arrest people violate the law, and then you arrest them and take them to an already congested prison and put all of them there. You have even the law enforcers themselves are running the risk of even spreading that, to say those people are even potential carriers of the disease. So you arrest them from outside and take them to a deposit.
Okay, that's a very good one. Your organization have been doing a whole lot, like you rightly mentioned in the outset of this discussion, but we'll come to that. Let's quickly go on a short break, and then when we're back, we'll discuss more on what you guys are doing. Okay, if you're just joining us, this is still lunchtime discuss. Of course, we are having a special features here today, being the Children's Day, and I've been talking with Zikorai Ibe. Zikorai Ibe is the program officer of Spaces for Change, a non-government organization, responsible for infusing human rights into social and economic governance in Nigeria. Okay, you should like and share our page, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel, Vanguard NGRO TV, for more interesting videos. We'll be back in a short moment. Hi there, welcome back to lunchtime discussion on Vanguard Live, broadcasting to you from Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. Of course, we've been discussing human rights abuses during the COVID-19 lockdown. Well, I've not been doing that alone. I have a specialist in the studio, Zikora Ibe, and she has been, giving us more insights into what the what rights activists have been doing, to stem the tide of citizens' rights, being abused on a daily basis in Nigeria. She has said that it is not just during the lockdown, that way before lockdown, Nigerian security agencies have been abusing the rights of Nigeria. Well, you can comment on the video and let's hear your own opinion or whatever views you have about human rights abuses in Nigeria. Of course, we are going to take your comment before the show ends. Okay, Zikora, you are welcome back to the show. Okay, before we went on a short break, we were discussing about what your organization have been doing to ensure that citizens' rights are protected in Nigeria. Okay, can you tell us what you guys have done specifically in this short period? You said you are focusing on the lockdown period. So what have you done so far? Because of course cases have been reported, some illegal detention, some have have been murdered in the process. So what have you guys been doing so far?
Well, yeah, thank you, Bankole. So, following numerous incidences of human rights abuses in Nigeria during this COVID-19 lockdown period, we decided to launch a legal helpline. We did this in conjunction with 6 other organizations under the banner of the Action Group on Free Civic Space. So the Action Group on Free Civic Space is a group committed to ensuring that government policies in the name of national security or public health safety or whatever it is do not infringe on the rights of citizens in Nigeria. So what we've been able to do by launching legal helplines is to be able to avail the public to on-the-spot numbers to call should in case their rights are being violated. So we've been able to offer legal redress services to people whose rights have been violated. We've been able to secure bail for people who have been illegally held in detention.
But how do you know? How do you confirm that someone has been illegally detained? Sometimes police will tell you that this person was caught in a particular act. Some would deny it. The individual might deny that no, I wasn't caught in that. How do you guys determine who is really a victim of police brutality?
Well, that's why that's why they are caught, and that's why. But in this situation, whereby the pandemic has made the economy moribund and most of the public services restricted, for the coronavirus situation, mobile courts are set up around states to try people who have been, caught in violation of whatever it is as state laws and directives. And that is what we expect enforcers to do. So if a person is caught violating the law, shouldn't the person be tried by the state's mobile court and given whatever it is they're due? So in cases whereby people are arrested and not tried, then it becomes an illegal detention. So if people violate the law, as you've rightly pointed out, there are structures to address such violations. So the person should be charged at the mobile court, and whatever it is
but are you also spread across the 6 states of the country, or just in Lagos and Abuja?
Well, we are in Lagos and Imo State, but we have partners and sister organizations, working with us across all the states in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. So, and during this period, I can tell you that we've been able to secure, redress for over 105, persons across.
Within this lockdown period.
Within this lockdown period.
That's massive.
Yes, in Nigeria, across states in Nigeria. In Lagos alone, we've been able to do that for 68 persons. In Imo State, about 7 persons, and in Imo State, we also influenced, the setting up of mobile courts to also try people immediately, because we understand that yes, people could violate the law, I mean, and the enforcers have the right to actually, hold people for violating the laws. But you don't hold them without, following due process. When violates the law.
The due process you just mentioned, I don't know if your organization has encountered a situation whereby justice is kind of being delayed somehow. But you guys sometimes frustrated when you encounter such incident?
Well, yes, every person would be frustrated if justice is denied.
Does he
or delayed
hamper?
them.
Does that hamper your?
Well, yes, because we are humans. Humans work in the organization, so it's normal for us to feel frustrated sometimes, or feel really down that cases are not working the way we ought to. But because we believe that in the justice system of the country, we believe that there are still accountable officers, there are still accountable, political officers, public officers. So we continue pushing and hoping that whatever it takes, how long it takes, justice will be served in the long run.
So you believe in the justice system of Nigeria?
Yeah.
And you think it's been, very good all the way?
Well, there are rooms for improvement. It hasn't been 100%. It hasn't been 100%. Very fantastic. But we've been able to secure cases. We've been able to secure redress for people. So we believe that there's room for improvement. And
okay, but before I go to the final question, I need to ask you this, and I need you to give me a kind of a global answer, because I understand now that. Human rights abuses is not just limited to Africa or Nigeria alone. Just yesterday, a black guy was killed, in Minnesota. That's United States of America. And of course, at the moment as we speak, there's a protest, currently ongoing there. Okay, but are you not worried that it is becoming, a kind of global thing? Because some persons will tell you that you cannot find that in advanced climes, but unfortunately we are beginning to see that now. And I think this year alone, police in the United States have killed at least close to about 10 people that the media have actually reported. So are you not worried that it is not just because it is Africa, or it is a kind of African thing, it's becoming a global thing?
Well, I always say something. I always tell people that we do not live in an ideal world. So if we live in an ideal world, then it will be expected that we would have cases of human rights abuses or infringement on other people's rights. But because you live in a world of good, bad and evil, it means that you would constantly stumble on things like that. So, and Nigeria isn't the only place where citizens experience violation of their rights and infringement on their personal freedoms. Like you rightly pointed out just yesterday in the US, there's the issue of police brutality, which has been on the news and everywhere. But what should make us human is that we are accountable for these issues, that people can say, no, this isn't supposed to happen in an ideal society, that justice systems can allow people seek redress where they've been wronged, so that even if we keep having these cases, we will keep having people who gain victory at redress offices, at justice systems, at justice desk, and whatever it is. And that's why even here in Nigeria, we're saying that this situation is not just unique to us, but what we need to do is to strengthen our justice and accountability system. And that is why we've also been working with remedial institutions like the National Human Rights Commissions. Over this period, we've been documenting incidences and cases, and also filing petitions to the relevant agencies, hoping that they take this matter forward and give victory to those who have been wronged. That should be the mark of an ideal society. Okay,
you just talked about working in partnership with human rights sister organizations and all of that. Okay, are you guys working beyond that? Maybe trying to go into partnership with maybe the judiciary, the security agencies, to fast track some of this thing. Aside fast tracking it, also trying to educate them on citizens' rights.
Yeah.
Are you in partnership with them?
Yeah. Like I said, we've been working with relevant remedial agencies, to seek justice to issues like this. For instance, we've been working hand in hand with the National Human Rights Commission to document cases and also file petitions to note that these issues are brought to book. And for security agencies, we have sister organizations who who are into
Training.
advocacy around security enforcers and security systems and the rest of them. So what we do is to also offer training, like we've said that even the security agencies need emergency trainings for periods like this. Nigeria just wasn't ready for whatever COVID-19 was going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
So even the security agencies weren't even ready or weren't even adequately educated on how to go about enforcing whatever it is, our lockdown directives, and striking a balance. While enforcing lockdown directives, you strike a balance and make sure that you doing that doesn't override, the rights of citizens. Like you do it in such a way that you mainstream human rights into whatever actions it is you are trying to, lock down.
Okay, that's a good one. But okay, in your final word, do you think they should be punished? Those who violate human rights. What kind of punishment are we looking at here?
Absolutely. People who violate human rights should be punished. It's not even a question of contest or argument or anything. So they should be punished by setting up adequate justice and accountability systems. When we have very, very powerful accountability structures, it will be hard for anybody to get away with violating the other person's rights.
All right, thank you, Zikora. Okay, you've heard it all from Zikora eBay, and she has been taking us through the lockdown, COVID-19 lockdown abuses, in Nigeria. And she has rightly said that, those who go against human rights or who violate human rights should, of course, be punished. But she is not calling for capital punishment here. She's just saying that, okay, you should set up a fair justice system where everyone is going to be tried and you get justice done in the end. Okay, well, Zikora, it's nice having you on the show.
Thank you.
And of course we hope to have you here some other time to provide more insight into all of this issue as they come up. Okay, my name is Bankole Ido Emmanuel, and well, it's still the Children's Day celebration, and of course we hope our children are staying safe. And if you are a parent out there, ensure that you give the adequate guideline on how your children can remain safe, because of course they are the future of tomorrow. Okay, do not forget to like and share this page so that other people can watch and see what we have been doing here. It's bye from here.